Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Hard Count podcast. And today, I'm going to give you guys my Week 8 Superior 10. We've got a lot of shakeups this week. Some of my recent lists have been pretty similar, but there was a lot of big losses, big wins this week that have shaken up the list. So at number 10, I've got the Cincinnati Bengals, and they make their way back into this top 10. I had them out of it for a while after some tough losses, but I do think they deserve to be here. I've kind of had the Browns, the Chargers hovering around in this spot, but I think that if I look at the most overall solid football team of that group, I would say it is the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow, he's going to return to form. I shouldn't really have ever taken them out of the top 10 to begin with. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, it's just an elite set of weapons. This is a team that's just done extremely well in the AFC the past couple of years. They've got a big opportunity this weekend against the 49ers to kind of step up, play some good football, show that they're back, and I think that they can do that off of this bye week. So not too much to say. Again, big opportunity. I think they are just a good football team. They're going to work things out. Joe Burrow is going to return to form. It's going to be okay for the Bengals. So, Bengals here at 10. Not too much to say. Yeah. Then at number 9, I've got the Detroit Lions, who had a tough loss this weekend against the Baltimore Ravens. I think this is kind of the litmus test that we'd all been waiting for. They had the win against the Chiefs in week 1, but how good was this Lions team really? They were very good statistically speaking, but I think this was kind of a test, and it was kind of a show of the Lions aren't quite the 5-1 team we thought they might be. I was thinking about this team maybe as a lot of people were thinking of this team as one of the best teams in the league. And, I pushed back on that a little bit for sure, and I'm feeling good about that. So that's why they're not going to drop too much. I think I had them at 7 last week, so down a couple of spots still. I still think this Lions team is good. Now, this is an offense when things are right. Jared Goff is comfortable. It's going to be very good. They've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams in there, Sam Laporta, a lot of good young talent. And Jared Goff can be the distributor under good play calling. This offense can score a lot of points, and they can score quickly. We've seen that. So it's good. The defense had a tough outing this weekend against the Ravens, but also the Ravens offense was just playing at a very, very high level, and it's going to be hard to stop them playing at that level for anyone. So this was just one of those games where it kind of gets out of hand early, and it's just feels like a spiral. The Lions never really got anything going, and that's that. So Lions at 9. I still think this is a very good team. I think they have one of the easiest remaining schedules in the NFL. I fully expect the Lions to make the playoffs and, maybe compete. I'm not sure if they are on the level of some of the top teams, like the Eagles, like the 49ers, but still a good team. I'm not going to hit the panic button after a loss to Baltimore. Yes, it was embarrassing. Yes, it was a tough loss. Yes, it drops them, but it's still a good team. So Lions at 9. And then at number 8, I've got the Dallas Cowboys, who there's not much to say. They had a bye week this past week. So, again, not much to say. I still think this is a good NFC team. They move up above the Lions here in my NFC power rankings. I just think that at the end of the day, this team has more talent, more of a realistic opportunity to compete with the 49ers, the Eagles, etc. for the top of the NFC. But not too much to say. Again, Cowboys had a bye week. They've got an interesting matchup against the Rams at home this week. I think the Rams are one of those teams where the record is better than they show. So that'll be a fun one. And then we get the Eagles in a couple of weeks. So that'll be a real tester. But Cowboys here at number 8. And then at number 7, I've got the Buffalo Bills. And talk about a team that I just cannot pinpoint. The Buffalo Bills are exactly that team, and I do not think I am alone in that situation. A tough loss to the New England Patriots in division this past weekend. Now, I keep on making these excuses for the Bills, and I could go ahead and do it again here. It's Bill Belichick. It's an in-division game. Bill Belichick, when he faces quarterbacks time and time again, he tends to learn to know how to stop them. But I feel like at this point, you go back in my videos, it's every week. Last week it was Brian Daboll knowing Josh Allen. The week before, give him a break. It was London. They had to travel. How many excuses can I make before I'm like, this team just really isn't that good? And I'm kind of reaching that point. I feel like they've dropped out of the top tier of teams for me, even a little below that. So the Bills to me, when they're at their best, are one of the best teams in football. But I just think right now, they can't hit that mark consistently enough. They can't run the ball always consistently. Josh Allen is not always playing at a Superman level, which this offense often needs. They just lost Dawson Knox, which definitely does not help them. And then, on the other side of the ball, this defense just let Mac Jones score 29 points on them, which is not a good thing for anyone. So there's just inconsistencies with this team. I don't really know what to make of them. I do have faith that at some point we're going to see them kind of put things together, but they deserve to drop. They just have not performed consistently and have not been the team that I thought that they were. So the Bills to me are the number 7 team in the NFL, the number 5 team in the AFC, and I would not be surprised if they lost their division to a team we're going to talk about in a bit, and I would not be surprised if they kind of were on fringe playoffs heading in, if they continue to have these shaky performances. So Bills at number 7, confusing team. Maybe they can get right this week against the Buccaneers tonight. So Bills there at number 7. And then at number 6, I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars, who talk about being on a tear. The Jaguars have won 4 games in a row, which I think only behind the Chiefs is the second longest winning streak in the NFL right now. They took down a pretty good Saints team on Thursday Night Football. And this Jags team just keeps stacking wins, man. Keeps stacking quality wins. Yes, they did let the Saints kind of slip back into it a little bit at the end, but Trevor Lawrence is playing at a super high level. 31, 37, 25 points in their last few games. And they're really just putting things all together. Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, Evan Engram. They're going to have Zay Jones back. It's a great group of pass catchers and a good offense led by Doug Peterson. So there's just a lot of things to like here for the Jaguars, and their defense is playing well. They held the Bills to 20 points. I know we just talked about the Bills' shakiness. The Colts to 20 points. It's been a good defense and just well-rounded performance after well-rounded performance. It's something I have to reward in these rankings. And when I talk about AFC teams, this team is going to run away with the AFC South. I just don't see any other team really competing with them at this point. And so I think, will make the playoffs. They're going to have a home game in the playoffs. And maybe they could make some noise. If they keep stacking these good performances, they've got a good quarterback. That's the recipe for success. Start to build some experience in this new era of the Jaguars. So number 6, I've got the Jaguars, and, I'm not going to put them too much higher. I think some people might get a little ahead of themselves in that regard, but a very good football team. A team that I'm moving above the Bills, who I had at number 1 just a few weeks ago. So Jaguars at number 6. And then at number 5, I've got the Miami Dolphins, who kind of had a tough loss to the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football, one of the biggest games of the football season so far, a game that everyone was watching. And they lost 31-17. Not the explosive offense we have been used to seeing there in Miami. And they really just got beaten on all fronts in that game. Yes, sure, the officiating was not great, but that's not the result of a 14-point difference at the end of the day. And, I've kind of pushed back on the Dolphins this season. If you look at my other videos, Yes, they're up there in the top 5, 6, but I was never putting them 1. I was never putting them 2. I was never putting them 3. Like a lot of people had been. And I think that this is exactly, the game that just happened on Sunday night is the exact reason I was not doing that. Because I think at the end of the day, this team can get pushed around. This team can get run on, exposing their run defense. I think on offense, with a good play caller, with a lot of elite talent that can kind of match, maybe not fully match the speed of Miami, but kind of match the physicality, get after Tua, has talent on the perimeter to kind of help contain the Miami weapons, which is what Philadelphia had. This offense can kind of shut down a little bit, can kind of get suffocated, and on defense, they can just kind of get run over. And we saw that here in this game, a better team, a better quarterback with good talent everywhere on the back end, up front, shutting down the run. The Eagles really bullied the Dolphins. And I do think that could happen in the future. Now, I still think this is a very good football team. I still think this team can figure it out. I mean, at the end of the day, no one is matching Miami Dolphins' speed. I mean, they've got the best receiver in the NFL, Tyreek Hill. One of the best broad receiver twos in the NFL, Jalen Waddle. I mean, Achan's going to come back, who's been a historically efficient running back for them. And they've got one of the best play callers in the NFL, Mike McDaniel, and a quarterback who, when things are going right, is going to do good things for the Miami Dolphins. So this is a scary team in the playoffs when they get there. I think that it's looking more and more like they're going to win the AFC East over the Buffalo Bills. The Dolphins will figure things out. I mean, this was not a pretty performance. It was not a loss that's making me feel a lot better about them. But honestly, the Eagles matched up really well with them. These games happen, and they can learn and build from it. So, still a very good team. I think this is kind of the Dolphins team that I've been saying they have been all year. I mean, this result doesn't shock me. So, the Dolphins at 5, still a very, very good football team. Just maybe not quite number 1, number 2, number 3, like a lot of people have been putting them all year long. So, Dolphins at number 5, and then at number 4, I've got the San Francisco 49ers dropping down here a decent bit, because I think, 1 week, last week I said, it happens. It happens, teams lose, I'm not worried. But then it happens twice. Then on Monday Night Football, they get outplayed by the Minnesota Vikings, and I start to think, what's going on? So I dropped the 49ers here because, yes, they're missing some of their big playmakers. But, so were the Vikings. I think this ultimately comes down to the reason I dropped them, I just do not have the same faith in a Brock Purdy as some of the other guys that are going to be higher up on this list. And, we've seen it before with the 49ers. This is a team that's going to run you over. This is a team with one of the best supporting casts ever. A great defense. Playmaker on playmaker, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey. A great offensive line. They put the quarterback in a position to succeed, but when it's not going right, we kind of see a breakdown. Now, I know the concussion, there's speculation that was what completely changed the performance of the game, but still, even before that, the offense was not looking great. Even before that, Brock Purdy was not doing the things he was needing to do to win this game. Now, I do think that the Vikings are better than their records show, but still, this is just a more talented 49ers team, and I still think they're going to win a lot of games. I'm not completely pushing the brakes on them. I still think this team's going to compete in the NFC, and I think they can get things right. But at the end of the day, are they really the number 1 team in the league? I'm not so sure. They've got a really interesting matchup this week at home against the Cincinnati Bengals, who are just coming off a bye. So this could be a really tough game for the 49ers at the end of the day. The Bengals kind of need this win. It's a tough division. They don't want to let it get out of reach. So I think they're going to come out playing. They're going to come out playing hard, and the 49ers, we'll see how they respond to that. So, again, 49ers here at number 4. I just don't think that they are one of the top 1-2 teams in the league like I had thought. We'll see how they play this weekend against the Bengals, but for now, they sit at 4. Then at number 3, I've got the Baltimore Ravens. Huge win this past weekend against the Detroit Lions, 38-6, one of the best wins we've seen from any team this NFL season. And I mean, things were just all working well for the Ravens. I mean, it was a fully complete game. Lamar Jackson is playing at some of the highest levels of his career. He is PFF's highest graded quarterback up to this point. And I mean, he's just playing extremely well in this Todd Monken offense. I mean, you could just tell the difference. I mean, Zay Flowers, Odell, Rashad Bateman, they can win on the outside one-on-one, and you can really tell the difference that makes in this offense. I mean, Zay Flowers is getting open, Rashad Bateman is getting open so that Lamar Jackson can deliver the ball on time and have someone there for him on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 2nd and 10. They're able to convert more frequently, and that is just super evident thus far. And this defense has been one of the best in the NFL, top 3, and really hasn't shown any signs of weakness. I mean, they've allowed the least touchdowns in the league. They're one of the top in every defensive metric. And, I mean, Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen are playing like some of the best linebackers in football. Geno Stone, league lead in interceptions. Justin Madubuike is playing great. They are second in team total pressures of any team. The defense is getting after the quarterback. They're covering well. Brandon Stevens is stepping up for this defense. So there's just so much to like here with the Ravens. Mike Macdonald has been phenomenal as their defensive coordinator. And if they can keep putting games together like this team is going to be very, very difficult to beat. I think they're beating themselves twice away from being 7-0. So yeah, Ravens at 3. I just think this is the team that is going to be competing at the end of the season. I mean, it's a tough division, but I think that this is the best team in that division, and they are going to continue to show that. We'll see if Lamar Jackson can continue to play at such a high level. And if he does, this is going to be a very, very difficult team to stop. So Ravens at number 3 looked phenomenal this past weekend against the Lions after a dominant 38-6 win. So then at number 2, I've got another team with a big win this past weekend, the Philadelphia Eagles. We talked a little bit about that game earlier when we were talking about the Dolphins, but now looking at the Eagles side, I mean, this team is just fully complete. They're a team that can push you around, and that was exactly the game that I was hoping to see from the Eagles against the Dolphins. You know, Jalen Hurts stepped up, played fantastic football. I'd kind of been questioning him the weeks past. I dropped the Eagles down a little bit because of that. I was wondering, is this the same Jalen Hurts? Is this a guy that's going to, in these big games, step up? I mean, the surrounding, there's no doubt it's there. I mean, the Eagles, one of the best offensive lines in football. A.J. Brown, one of the best receivers in football, playing like it. Devontae Smith as well, fantastic. I mean, Darius Slay. I mean, I know they just acquired Kevin Byard as well, one of the best safeties in recent years from the Titans, and that'll be a huge impact on that back end. So the Eagles are just such a well-rounded team, well-coached team, well-managed team, and Jalen Hurts is playing like a great quarterback against these big teams. They can run the ball, they can pass the ball. It's an explosive offense, and the defense gets things done as well. So big win over the Miami Dolphins. They kind of showed that they can compete. And I know some people had questions about who they had played and, you know, are they really so good? And they showed, yes, they are. I know they've got one of the most difficult schedules in the NFL remaining, but the Eagles are going to be just fine. They're going to be able to bully most teams, and they're going to win a lot of games because of it. So, Eagles at number 2. And then at number 1, I've got the Kansas City Chiefs, who, I mean, I don't know why. I feel like every year it's just a game to see how long we can wait until we have the Chiefs at number 1 in the power rankings. Oh, this team looks good. Oh, this team looks good. Oh, this team looks good. But we always just end up in the same place. And that is with the Kansas City Chiefs Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid at number 1. And here they are. Patrick Mahomes is playing like the best quarterback in football, the best quarterback, in my opinion, who has ever played football, with one of the best tight ends who's ever played. Rashee Rice is emerging as a great receiver for this team. And this defense is playing at some of the highest levels this defense has played at in Patrick Mahomes' career, which is extremely scary to me. Should be scary for the rest of the NFL. If a Patrick Mahomes-led team can have a Tom Brady-like defense, it's game over for the NFL. This is the number 1 team in football. There's not too much to say. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Andy Reid. It's Travis Kelce. I say it every week, and I'll say it once more. The Kansas City Chiefs are the number 1 team in football, and I think they might just be here to stay. So there's my Superior 10. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. There was a lot of movement this week, so there definitely could be some interesting opinions. We've got an exciting week of football. I'm sorry this video came out a day late. We've got Thursday Night Football this week. So, yeah, thank you guys for listening. And until next time, peace.